Hey everyone, and welcome back to Timeless. I just beat a deck that had main deck Leyline of the Void, and I said, I gotta get recording. So we have one cool new card from Bloomburrow, and if you remember my set review for Bloomburrow, I did rate most cards very, very low, especially the special guests, but this was the highest rated card that I had. I gave it B tier, and this is Huskburster Swarm. And this is a really cool, really interesting way for graveyard decks to get a late game threat that is very cheap, and if you read the text carefully, it counts creature cards that are in exile, not just graveyards, which means it can beat something like main deck Leyline of the Void. Because even with the Leyline of the Void down, if I'm milling myself and I'm just chucking my prized amalgams into exile, eventually this thing will cost only 3 or 2 or 1 mana. So first, let me quell the expectations. Let's not get too excited. The set came out like an hour ago. I just played some BO1 games. We're going to also play BO1 today because I like doing BO1 gaming every so often. People ask for it, and this is a brand new deck, a new concept, and this deck is much stronger in BO1. It is a deck that will sometimes die to graveyard hate in best of three, but I just demonstrated, I know it was off camera, so no one got to see, that we won through graveyard hate with a Huskburster Swarm. So I'm hoping that this deck can be adjusted for best of three. So if people want to help me figure this out for best of three, please leave suggestions on this video. I'm looking to try to figure it out, and I will make like a best of three version in a couple of days once I have a little bit of time to actually play with it and actually refine the deck a bunch. So let's talk about the rest of the deck. I think people have seen a similar deck to this by now. It's pretty decent in best of one, but in best of three, it's pretty atrocious because it just dies to graveyard hate. The idea is that we are going to self-mill a bunch with cards like a Stitcher Supplier, Otherworldly Graze, Archaeologist, and I got 2 copies of Undead Butler as well. Some people like to play Glimpse to just the sorcery that mills you for 10, but I think that's a little lost in the sauce for best of three, so I'm trying to build this deck with best of three in mind, even though we're going to run it through best of one first. And the idea is you mill yourself a bunch, you get free cards like Narcomoeba, Bloodghast, and Prized Amalgam back from your graveyard, and you very quickly build a board state. And with these free cards, you can use your free interaction to. I'm using the word free a lot. You get to do stuff for free. And whenever you get to do that, that's awesome. The deck also gets to play like a really good mid-range threat, that's Psychic Frog, and Huskburster Swarm now becomes the second really good mid-range threat, and both Frog and Huskburster Swarm are ways that you can legitimately win games through Graveyard Hate. Let's talk about specific cards and specific inclusions. I like the Undead Butler here. It's not something that has really made the cut before, but it's a way to get Huskburster Swarm back when you do mill this card, because this is not a card you want in your graveyard, it's a card that you want in your hand. So late in the game, you sack your Butler to a flare, or you just jump block with it, you bring back your Swarm, and then you have a 1 mana 6/6 Death Touch and Menace. Reanimate, I used to have more copies of it, but it didn't seem too great to me. You don't really want to reanimate the Swarm because it'll cost you 8 life. The only really great reanimate target is Psychic Frog, so we're down to just 2 copies, and we have the Grief reanimate package in the sideboard now. I decided not to main deck Grief because I think that just dilutes the game plan a lot. And Grief as a card is not good against a lot of different meta decks. It's great against unfair decks, but in my opinion, it's just really, really poor against Energy, which is the best deck that is going to beat this deck up quite a bit. Other than that, I think the rest of my choices for the deck are very straightforward. We have the Self-Mill All-Stars, the Dredgeless Dredge All-Stars of the Amalgam, the Narcomoeba, and the Bloodghast. The Self-Mill I just said, and our crazy mid-range threats. The mana base also nothing special. Just a couple of fetch lands, a Surveil land. We play Stark Slick Shores as well. I'm playing 1 tower. I would love to play more towers, especially considering this is a Stitcher Supplier, Bloodghast, and Friends deck. If we have cards to sack to our flares, of course we're going to have creatures to sack to Phyrexian Tower as well in most games. But it's just so tough to make the mana work, because if you look, we're only playing 16 lands, which means we're really kind of low on colored sources. So if we're playing 16 lands, this one is colorless, and we're playing 1 of each basic, that's only 14 of each color. That's actually really, really low. It's as low as you can go, in fact. So I don't think we can afford to squeeze more towers in. If you wanted to put more towers, I think you got to go up to 17 or 18 lands, in my opinion. Onto the sideboard, we're going to do BO1 gaming today just for the first day of the set, and just because people do ask me for BO1 sometimes in the comments, so, got to do it from time to time, make everybody happy. But this is the work in progress sideboard. We got 4 Griefs for the unfair decks. We have Toxic Deluge plus Metoid Massacre for energy and aggro decks. We got Tooth Pithing Needles. This is for both unfair decks that rely on something like Charbelcher, and also for sideboard hate. If your opponent's bringing in unlicensed tours against you, you can Pithing Needle it. Vexing Bobble for show and tell style decks, and Leyline of the Void for other graveyard decks. I'm thinking that maybe instead of Leyline of the Void, we want like a bounce spell, something to bounce opponent's graveyard hate. Like if they play a Leyline of the Void, I want to return it to their hand. Something like Reason Borrower. I was trying to think of good ways to blow up graveyard hate in these colors, and unfortunately, there's not much in blue-black. Like bouncing is always a temporary solution, and in black we have Feed the Swarm, which only hits enchantments but not artifacts. So if you do have a suggestion for like anti-graveyard hate sideboard cards, let me know, and I'll definitely consider putting them in this slot because I don't think we need to dedicate 4 slots to anti-graveyard right now in the meta, at least. Yeah, I think that's it for the deck tech. Let's go ahead and play some best of 1 gaming games. All right, game 1, Huskburster. What do we got? We have Flare of Denial as a free counter, and we have Citrus Supplier as a way to mill ourselves, so I think this is pretty solid. If we were to mill another Narcomoeba, that would be the greatest thing ever. But if that doesn't happen, it's totally fine. I might just play the Narcomoeba as a 2-mana 1/1 just so that I can keep the free flare up. We'll think about it for next turn. All right, there's a Gaze. We're getting a Bloodghast back. This is great so far. Let's see what our opponent's up to. BO1Q meta is a bit different than BO3, and I'm totally not used to it, so we'll see what kind of decks we get. Oh, Madness? Awesome. A lot of people are probably going to be trying things on the first day of the set, which is always great to see. So I think here I actually do want to get this Narcomoeba into play and make sure that nothing too crazy is going to happen. Let's go ahead and attack first. I don't think they would ever trade this Neonate, but maybe they do. Maybe there's some world. Alright, then we can go ahead and play this Narco. We could, of course, like Otherworldly Gaze and try to, like, naturally mill another Narcomoeba, mill a Prized Amalgam. But let's do the safe thing, and then next turn we can go ahead and Otherworldly Gaze. So I'm looking to flare whatever their payoff is. Oh my god, yeah, they're Reanimator, actually, not Madness. I actually have not... I can't click on his graveyard. Oh, there we go. It just took a couple seconds to open, but yeah. They're trying to reanimate Galta. I will say no thank you. Well, that's a minute since I've seen that card. I remember when it first came out, everyone was jamming it because it was like the new de facto good reanimation target, but it didn't go anywhere. Also, maybe it's something with the new patch, but it looks like I can't click on graveyards while I don't have priority. Yeah, look at that. It takes a second to get to me. Yeah, if I click on a graveyard now while I have priority, I could see it. But when my opponent had priority, I couldn't click on it. So unfortunately, there's a Galta in play. Bad. So what I could do, I think what I should do is I can Archaeologist to try and find Black Flare. And if I find Black Flare, we can kill this Galta. And if we can't kill that Galta, then things get a little sus. Oh, would you look at that? He's the... Oh, he's the YouTuber, alright. Oh, he's got the luck. I'm so glad that this was the starting game. Because, you know, when you record these videos, you always hope that you start with a good one. Just for viewer retention, because everyone always thinks about those silly stats. Yeah. There we go. Alright, that's a good way to start it. Alright, game 2. We have, I think, what's a non-functional hand no matter what. If we draw a land, then, like, technically this could go somewhere, because I could play Psychic Frog, discard all my amalgams, and then try to get something back from the graveyard. But I think I'd rather mulligan and get something a bit more guaranteed to get me value. Ooh, this is just a little bit sus. If I can get black mana, I think this hand is great. Let's put the amalgam back, because it doesn't do anything in my hand. We have a lot of looks with Otherworldly Gaze to try and find black mana, and every other land in my deck, other than these two, produces black mana, so I think we're totally good here. Aha, Dark Ritual Gaming. Oh, we're gonna get turn 1 Sorin. Such is the best of 1Q. You know, sometimes you get to flare them, sometimes you don't. Yeah, Saint Helena. It's a shame because we have the flare in our hand, so if this island was actually a black source, I could have totally flared the Sorin. That's rough stuff. Well, maybe I would have wanted to flare Saint Helena. Alright, I'm gonna try to beat this, but I don't think it's too likely. Let's keep the swamp on top. So what's sweet is that we actually can flare Saint Helena now. If we hit a Narco here, we can also Flare of Denial, which would be so good. We don't. The YouTuber luck only lasts for 1 game, unfortunately. Alright, they even target something not named Saint Helenda there. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna jump. We're gonna flare. My opponent has to sacrifice their Saint. And then again, if we hit a Narcomoeba here, it would be dope. Alright, there's our Huskbursters. They are very cheap. Can I see the price of it? As it stands, no, but we can count. 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures in the graveyard. So right now that they are at half price at 4. One thing I found is that they are like a little slow. Oh, surgical mate, sheesh. Is that Huskburster is a little slow to get down to 1 mana, as opposed to something like Urmag Angler or Murktide Regent going all the way down to 2 mana. But that's not a bad thing when you're trading off the ability to still be discounted through Graveyard Hate. Alright, welcome back, Bloodghast. Unfortunately, we don't have much life total to work with here, and we're kind of dead next turn. Oh, Reanimate. Okay, so hear me out. I go to 1. Okay, which one do we want? Do we want the Vampire? I think we want a Faith's Fetters, one of their creatures, so we don't die here. So we're gonna Faith's Fetters, their Cleric. This is like one of the top 3 stupidest games I've played. I'll take my 4/4, please, thank you. Oh, how silly. And we have full cost Flare up here, so I actually think we're safe. Okay. I'm getting up. This is so silly. Yeah, that was very silly. I love it. Best of 1 is a wild place. I'm having fun. Alright, game 3. We've had a pretty silly amount of streamer luck so far today. Let's see if that keeps going. So in terms of opening hands, though, I don't know if I love this one. I mean, we get to Gaze turn 1, turn 2, play a Bloodghast backed up by a Flare or Flashback Gaze. I think this is, while not great, it's probably acceptable. I see Jegantha as my companion, or as their companion, so I think their deck's probably just going to be a energy deck. Flare of Malice is hopefully good against them. It's probably not enough. Let's find out, guys. That's why we're here on day 1 of the set. We're here to innovate and have some fun. Right, yep, it's energy gaming. So we're gonna Otherworldly Gaze, probably on their end step. I don't think there's a real reason to do it right now. And then next turn we can Flare of Malice them. Another guide. Not great. Alright, if this deck beats energy, I'm allowed to clickbait the video, okay? Right. Sweet. I think all this gets thrown away, right? Logi could be okay to draw. I feel like drawing lands is also okay. Yeah, drawing a fetch is probably fine. Where'd that fetch go? I think I'm totally cool to draw that. Okay, so here we're gonna play this. We're gonna play Bloodghast. I think in our upkeep we're gonna Gaze. Think about it. And then we're just holding up Flare here. I'm probably gonna be happy to Flare a Guide of Souls. But I'll just like wait and see if they play into Johnny or something else that I might also value flaring. I think even if they play a Johnny, I still flare Guide, right? Oh, you're gonna try to Static Prison my thing? That's fine. You can waste your mana. Waste your mana, waste your cards. This is good by me. Right. Yeah. In our upkeep, we're going to want to Otherworldly Gaze. We could, of course, wait to untap. If I wait to untap, what's the pros and cons? Trying to think of specific reasons to draw the card. I think I'd rather Gaze and try to find a good card to draw because I don't necessarily have one right now. Because I could just play an Archamoeba, but that's not doing anything with what's currently in my hand. We're looking to find like a 2-drop, like a Psychic Frog, Phylogeny Archaeologist, and yeah, here's the... I'm gonna call it a bug. This is a new feature, it's not a good one. I can't click on graveyards and such when I don't have priority, which I always do, because I like to think. Okay, Prized Amalgam, big hit here. I think we want to draw the Stitchers and play the Stitchers. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this before we play our land, because the landfall trigger is going to get Bloodghast back, which is going to trigger Prized Amalgams, and we want to get more Bloodghast and Amalgams into our bin, potentially, before we do anything else. Okay. We did not hit more creatures, but we do get our 2 back. So you come back, you're going to trigger Prized Amalgam. No free spells in our hand, and unfortunately our Huskburster Swarm is looking kind of small. It still does cost 6 mana. Yeah, when I say small, I mean not literally. Y'all know what I mean. Not quite worth the mana. We need to get the mana class small. And it is not. Alright, let's see what our opponent hits here off of Amp Drafter. An Amulet, you got it. Right. I'd love it if they attacked and just let me have my Citrus Supplier die. Okay, they'll hit my Prized Amalgam, that's fine. We might want to gaze in our upkeep again. I think I want to surveil really quick. Yeah, my opponent's definitely just gonna fly here. Let's surveil, let's see if we can fix our draw, and then depending on the results of the surveil, we can decide whether or not we want to gaze in our upkeep. Seems pretty good. Right, let's go ahead and take our surveil. Right, ooh, Bloodghast, yeah, that goes in the bin. Right, and then I think we're gonna Otherworldly Gaze again here. Okay, Psychic Frog I would love to draw. I'd love to draw that, but I also want to get my Bloodghasts back with a land. I'm just thinking. It would just be one Bloodghast I need to get back. No, I think I'd rather just draw the Psychic Frog and then take another random card after it. I know I won't be able to play the Psychic Frog for another turn, but I think it's a high enough quality card for me to keep on top. And then I will go ahead and probably attack with the Supplier, since my opponent doesn't want to block it. They don't want to just mill me for free. That wouldn't be good for them. Alright, sweet. Next turn we get to untap, play Frog. We get to discard things like Narcomoeba for a tiny bit of value. And then hopefully we can play a Huskburster. It's really slow to get activated this game, my Huskburster. It's just been too expensive this whole time, so I guess this is a bit of a knock against its strength. Even though we have, like, done the graveyard thing, we milled 12 cards. You would think that would be enough, but unfortunately not. Right. There's some kitty cats. Let's see it. Flare. Flare gaming. Might not be enough here. Hey. Pass the turn. It's not looking too great for us, but maybe there's a shot. Okay, we'll be taking 5 here, so we're not donezo. Not yet. I do need a blocker for this, so I might just play Narcomoeba as a little flying blocker. Ooh, gaze. That's cool. Let's go ahead and exile 3 random lands from our graveyard. Then we can attack with our frog. Draw a card. If my opponent is so gracious enough to allow me to draw a card. A Bloodghast. Okay, so now we can go ahead and discard a bunch of stuff. Love a 1-mana Huskburster right now. The thing is, I need a blocker here. So next turn we could probably play the Huskburster. Ooh, not looking too great right now, Huskburster, unfortunately. And I do also need to draw land to get these Bloodghasts back. Yeah, again, I can't click on my graveyard when I don't have priority. Yep, and then it pops up as soon as I do again. So here, I think in order to stay alive, we can see if we can mill another Narco. We don't. Okay. So in order to literally not be dead on board, we have to protect our Narco, which means Psychic Frog has to get sacked to Flare. This is really tragic, and we're honestly just staving off death for another turn. We are not looking good right now at all. But I do want to see what this deck can do, so let's go ahead and block here. And maybe play some big Huskbursters for fun. I think I go to 1 anyway if they attack with everything, right? Yeah. So we block here, go to 1. Hey, we got the 1-mana Huskburster, it worked. So unfortunately, this is a good reality check for Timeless. We got the YouTuber luck for the first 2 games, but unfortunately... could have milled that Narco, maybe. Unfortunately, the YouTuber luck ran out. And realistically, when you come up against a meta deck, often a 1-mana 6/6 on turn 5, 6, whatever that was, is just not nearly fast enough. But let's keep playing. This deck's fun. All right, game 3. What we got here? We have Gaze to maybe set some stuff up. Got Archaeologist. We got some Bloodghasts that would like to be in the graveyard. I think Gaze plus Archaeologist is probably a good enough start here. I could be wrong about that. Ocelot Pride, yep, against a bit more energy gaming. Ooh, we got a Frog. That's a good second card to play. Wait until their end step to do things, so they don't know exactly what we're playing. It looks like a normal Mardu energy with a normal... No! Okay, fine. I'm gonna Gaze really quick so I get a chance to. Ooh, Flare would be pretty dope. Alright. You know what would be dope? If we played Archaeologist, then milled the Flare and put it into our hand, right? So how about we leave Reanimate on top? I'm cooking, don't worry. We're going to draw Reanimate for turn. We're going to leave Flare on top so that we can mill it with the Archaeologist and put it into our hand. That would be smart. I could also just take my Archaeologist, in which case I would probably just reanimate it. We got that silly card Reanimate for a reason. If I were opponent, I might take the Frog, actually, just because Frog is such a scary card. Yeah, Frog is a scary card if they don't have a proper removal spell for this. So let me go ahead and do this. We're going to Archaeologist here. Square. Now, we do need to draw a land of some sort at some point, but that's a problem for future me, right? Also, instead of playing Archaeologist, we maybe could have just reanimated the Frog. Am I supposed to flare this, guys? I don't think so, right? We just let them kill the Archaeologist. Flaring would just stifle 3 life gain, which doesn't really mean anything. Of course, this card is a useless piece of cardboard in my hand for a while. I think it's fine. Ooh, Flare of Malice, interesting. I'm gonna bring back my Frog. This is kind of scary for my opponent. And we have all these Bloodghasts that we can discard to the Frog, so as soon as we draw land, we are absolutely cooking. Before then, though, it's a little suspicious. A little sus, definitely. Okay, Static Prison is going to come through, so... Not too much we could do here, but what we can do is we can first... Oops, wrong one. First, discard our Bloodghasts, because really we want to play these for free. And then second, we can Flare. And that'll at least trade for the Ocelot Pride and make this removal spell kind of worthless. And my opponent's getting towards Flage cards in Graveyard very soon. Huskburster is at least getting into the realm of castability, and unfortunately we ran into a couple little mana issues. So we'll go ahead and pass here. Let's see if we can hit a Narcomoeba or something fun here. Realistically, I just want to like leave a land on top. Oh, is that two Narcomoebas? And we get to play Swarm next turn. All right, hold on. We might be turning a corner. All right, let's see if we can double block the cat to trade with it. Bowmasters, no. All right, fine. Well, the good news is that Swarm is going to cost almost nothing. All right, let's go ahead and play a Stitchers. Play a Stitchers, mill a bunch. Huskburster Swarm will hit the battlefield. There's another gaze for later. So in our next upkeep, we're going to want to gaze and find a land drop for all those Bloodghasts that are now chilling in our graveyard. Yeah, I got 3 of them in there. It's a lot. Okay. Unfortunately, Fleech is coming back, but at least I have a 6/6 to be on par with it. Let's go ahead and block here. Unfortunately, we go to 3, which means we're dead to Flage. So let's try to find a flare or something. I mean the other flare, the black one. I mean, I think we're dead no matter what here. Yeah. It's another 1-mana Huskburster, so +1. This card is theoretically good right now, but it's just not quite enough against energy escaping Flage on us. Alright, up next we're playing against Def. We just had some tough games against energy. Let's see if we can turn it around a little bit. We have a turn 1 Stitcher Supplier nonsense here, followed up by maybe a turn 2 Frog. We have our tap land in our opener, which is a little awkward. But if we don't draw an untapped land, we could go Supplier into Gaze and set up, you know, pretty crazy graveyard start to this game. Go ahead, get a Watery Grave, mill ourselves a bunch. Right, nothing amazing so far, but we have more milling to do. Alright, the team is being assembled. It is indeed Show and Tell Gaming. So we need... Ooh, okay. We're gonna play our Psychic Frog. We might have to Flare of Denial and sacrifice our Psychic Frog, which would be very sad. Because I really value this card. I really want this card to, like, stay in play and hit my opponent and draw me some cards. Ooh, 2 Bloodghasts? It's Christmas. Mom said you get to have 2 Bloodghasts? No way. Alright, let's see what we draw here. Undead Butler Boy. Yeah, we can go ahead and play that. We'll go ahead and take our guys back with the landfall, even though it makes Huskburster a little more expensive. I think we're winning the game before Huskburster becomes relevant. Unfortunately, we might have to flare away our best threat, but if we do, oh well. Oh, and awesome. We got a prized amalgam plus Bloodghast Sweet in our graveyard. Oh, that new bug, perhaps feature, where I can't see my graveyard and explain myself is going to be a little bothersome. I'll have to get used to it. Oh, and it always pops up late, too. It's not like the click just doesn't work. It's just, like, you know, delayed by a couple seconds whenever you don't have priority. So I try to click on my graveyard, I realize I can't talk about it, I start talking about something else, and then it pops up in my face. Alright, you got the show and tell or what, buddy? Alright, sweet. We did it. We beat show, tell, Flare of Denial. We didn't actually cast Flare of Denial. Shh. Alright, game 6, I believe, for the video. We start with a Otherworldly Gaze to sculpt our hand, and then we could play Phlogy or Psychic. I think we're going to play Psychic, bin the Amalgam, and then the following turn we can... Phlogy, that seems pretty good. We're going to be up against Grim, no companion showing. So it's probably some sort of unfair deck. We'll see what it is. Against an unfair deck, this might be a little slow unless this Archaeologist lucks us into a counterspell. And yes, this means Goblin Charbelcher. So I'm going to bin everything that is not a Flare of Denial in hopes that a Flare does come to me. In fact, Charbelcher can literally win next turn. So I'm going to play the Archaeologist right here, and hopefully we can get the Denial. No hit, unfortunately, but we did fill our graveyard with a bunch of juicy stuff. Wow. We could cast Huskburster next turn, so we can actually have the turn 3 Huskburster. That's cool. Is that better than Frog? Maybe not, because what I really want to do... Ooh, we mill a creature. We go for the 1-mana Huskburster on turn 3. There we go. Oh, my greed. We didn't mill a creature. Oh, my greed. I assumed we would mill a creature with about half of our deck being creatures, but oh well. Yep, there's your channel. It wasn't going to be enough anyway. Channel, Belcher, activate. You got it. So yeah, unfortunately against a deck like this in game 1, it is kind of flare or bust. Maybe you could have like a really crazy goldfishing hand. Like, actually, if you look at our graveyard, we were not that far off. Yeah, click view battlefield, please. Yeah, a little slow to that game. We had Prized Amalgam, Bloodghast, I guess just those two, ready to cook in the graveyard. So maybe with a really nuttier hand with a 3rd land and more Bloodghast and Prized Amalgams, we could have maybe put enough pressure on, but like, yeah, on the draw against Belcher, it's just one of the things that happens in the BO1 queue, unfortunately. All right, let's get one or two more games in for the video. We have Otherworldly Gaze into Psychic Frog. This is not a super fast busted hand, but I think I'm happy enough to keep this, especially with a Flare backing me up. But those are always famous last words, of course. We can dump the Prize Amalgam into our bin with Psychic Frog, which is always awesome and always super fun. All right, Guide of Souls Gaming it is. Let's go ahead and grab a basic for life loss. And go ahead and gaze. Ooh, flares. Flare Malice might be useful. Little Huskburster is a little slow. I'd be cool to draw it in a couple of turns, just not right now. So we have flares up for emergency, but realistically I don't want to sacrifice my frog. Mesa, you got it. But if they use a removal spell on my frog, we're going to flare Malice in response, of course. But otherwise, I don't think we're going to be doing much. Even though I would love to prevent them from having double souls. I think we gotta... I don't know, guys. What are we doing? Are we going to counter this and keep them off of kitty cats? This is such a strong start. I think we got to slow them down. I'm going to surveil in my upkeep right here. Yeah. I think we got to slow them down. I think that hand's too fast. It's going to beat us. Alright, we're going to surveil in our upkeep, so maybe we can have black creatures so that we can also flare them. Ooh, Bloodghast, Narco, hello, gamers. We're gaming. Into play, please. Take action. Prized Amalgam, you fucking bet. Draw me. Main phase, please. Creature, Bloodghast, into play. Prized Amalgam, once again, you bet. I think we're going to flare down this Guide of Souls, but we can actually do it later. We could flare sacking Bloodghast, fetch a land, and then get the Bloodghast back again, which is really awesome. Do we have a chance? Do we have a shot against energy? I think we got a shot here. Alright, I'm going to do it then. I'm going to go Hellbent. Alright, please get rid of a guide. And then, just for me, one more time, I'm going to surveil here. So if we see a good card on top we want to draw, we're going to draw it. Oh, yeah, Crazy Frog. Very happy to have him. Hey. we might be okay against energy. Of course, they can just play something really good like an Ajani, and then we're gonna be having trouble again. Am I even supposed to attack into this? Because it could lead to some problems if they have a red permanent. It very much leads to some problems. I think we're supposed to force the issue, though. A lot of our creatures are, by definition, a bit expendable, because they can come back from the graveyard really easily. And I'll play that Frog. Frog might just die to a Johnny's ability. But if Frog dies, that means you can probably attack them down. Hey, there's a cat. Any red permanents? No red permanents. Okay, this is big. That means we're okay.
Nothing can break our bond.
So they can plus and put counters on their cats. Yeah, keep a Johnny safe as well. Alright, let's go to my turn. Undead Butler Boy. I mean, you got it. We can get that Huskburster Swarm back when this dies, which is pretty big. It'll probably cost 1. Let's get milling. Okay, we didn't mill anything amazing, but let's go ahead and get rid of some lands here. And then let's attack them down. Oh, they might minus a Johnny, so I think it's worth throwing 1 damage at a Johnny here. And then 1 damage at them. Then we get to draw our card off of the Psychic Frog. Let's see what we get. 1 mana Huskburster, please. Not quite, but Otherworldly Gaze is not something I'm gonna decline. I think I'll cast it right now, just in case it's somehow relevant. Could get more Narcomoebas and friends back if we do it right now. But maybe it's better to do it like on my opponent's turn after we block with Prized Amalgam. Maybe that's the correct play. I think that probably is, now that I think about it a bit more. Bloodghast goes to the bin. Huskburster? Oh yeah, you're nice and cheap. I think we're going to want you on top. Exactly how cheap are you? I don't know. You're not giving me a preview. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures in the graveyard. Yep, you are definitely cheap enough to be played. Okay. Big cat's coming through. Alright, someone give me a very hearty meow. I'm fine to trade an amalgam for a cat. You're not flipping him. Don't lie to me. Big Husk is going to hit the battlefield. It is 1 mana. Let's go ahead and exile a bunch of random cards. Let's go ahead and attack. How bad is it if they minus a Johnny like this? I mean, it's pretty freaking terrible. If I sacrifice the rest... Actually, yeah, let's just attack them. If I sacrifice all of my stuff, I can keep Huskburster. I can use this to get another Huskburster. And most of my stuff comes back anyway. Ooh, Narcomoeba, nice. Maybe not super nice, because now they're just gonna minus a Johnny here. But I really don't think this is bad, because I can Otherworldly Gaze in my upkeep and get all my stuff back. I will keep a Huskburster Swarm. Alright, hear me out. I think we're fine. Because we get another big guy. Could have also gotten Psychic Frog, but I think this 6/6 is worth having. The big chunky boy. So I think we would want to... Let's take our draw step before we surveil, because yeah, it could be a relevant card. Alright, let's go ahead and gaze here. I would love to... Ooh, another Huskburster. That would be good to draw for next turn. Keep throwing big guys on the board. I wanted to get a creature back from the graveyard so that we can get our prized amalgams back and then start chaining. But we didn't get a chance to do that. I'm going to attack with the Swarm. It's going to trade for 2 of their guys. It's got Menace, so they have to double block. Yeah, so I get to kill both here, which is very strong. And I'm assuming you're going to decline to flip. Do I have a Bloodghast in the bin? Question mark. Yes, I do. Okay, so even a land is a live draw. That's good. My opponent's going to make some more kitty cats here.
To me!
To me! Oh, you got a lightning bolt for it? That's a little rough. But we at least have a backup here. Okay, we'll play Huskburster. And then we will play Otherworldly Gaze now. Another Prized Amalgam, a Narcomoeba. I'll keep this Stitcher Supplier on top because I think that's fine to draw for next turn. Alright, there we go. Getting some stuff back. All my amalgams come. Nice. This is close. We might be able to get there. Maybe Stitchers isn't the best keep, by the way, now I think about it. Like, what's it really gonna do? Oh, there goes an amalgam. Okay. Let's go ahead and play it and see what it does. It mills other suppliers. Yeah, that wasn't much. Let's attack them like this. Attack Mr. Johnny. Attack you. My prized amalgams do kind of get eaten here. No, I think it's still fine and correct to attack a Johnny like this. This Johnny's going to be killing multiple of my creatures a turn. Okay, they let them die. And they go to 3. Only problem for me is that I left my board pretty weak. I don't have much in the way of blockers, so if they can clear this and then put a bunch of pressure on the board, we're kind of screwed. Otherwise, I think we're fine. Yeah, trade with the monkey guy. Alright, we did not mill anything super relevant there, but we do have, like, lethal. Oh, we win! Alright, cool. We beat energy. Nice. Get a little bit of redemption there. That's good. Let's get one more game in for the video. All right, one more video, or one more game for the video. This seems like a fine opener, maybe a little slow going second, but Flare plus Butler is quite good. Psychic Proc is quite good. Let's keep it. It definitely could be too slow, depending on what my opponent is doing, with them going first. Let's see what's up. If they put a lot of pressure on the board, we're definitely going to want a Butler Flare to take that pressure off. But if not, if they're taking their time, I'm totally going to play Frog. They're probably going to play something like a Bowmasters here. Exactly. I'm cool. I'm chilling right now. Are you guys chilling? I'm chilling against Rakdos Scam, Rakdos Luris, whatever this is. All right, Slick Shot, Show Off. So we got like Rakdos Burn, maybe Prowess Aggro, whatever you would want to call it. So we don't need to emergency flare right now, but I definitely am interested in flaring to try to eventually clear this Slick Shot. I know they'll probably just sack Bowmasters, but better than nothing. Yep, they probably have a Bolt or something here. Yep, Bolt's me, you got it. Okay, let's go to my turn. So right here, I'm going to start with the Butler. Oh, we got a Swarm and a Philagi. Cool. We definitely want that Philagi for next turn, so I think that's what I'm going to return here. We don't have enough creatures in the bin just yet to make Huskburster cheap enough. I think we want to dig with Philagi. Actually, let's reanimate Philagi and let's get the Huskburster Swarm back to our hand. Changed my mind. Well, they do sacrifice Slick Shot, not Bowmasters. That's really interesting to me. I didn't think they would do that. Let's go ahead and reanimate the Lodge first. I can also reanimate their Slick Shot, which would be very funny. But this will trigger Prized Amalgam as well, which is really cute. Oh, and we got a Narco back, and we got a Flare. Okay, it's Christmas. We got the YouTuber luck back again. All right, and now we can go ahead and exile all the random stuff we don't care about, which is everything except the Amalgam. And jump up and draw a card. Unfortunately, Narco is going to die to the Bowmaster trigger here, but I'd rather have a card than a Narco Amoeba. The point of Narco Amoeba is to get Prized Amalgam back. That's about it. Alright, so now we have a free Flare going on. Okay, let's go ahead and block here. If there's some interference, we could always sacrifice the Archaeologist to counter it. Like a second Bowmaster here would be kind of annoying. Okay. Damage will go through. DRC. Is this big enough to counter? I think it is when it's close to being flipped. So let's go ahead and send that to the graveyard. We're going to make our Huskburster a little bit cheaper, which is nice. Ooh, Stitchers. So hopefully this will make our Huskburster cheap enough to play. Got hit 2 creatures here. Nice, we did. Ooh, hold on. Do we want to return this? I'm actually going to decline an Archaeamoeba trigger, guys. And the reason is so that we can play Huskburster. That's funny. I never thought I'd be denying Narcomoeba triggers today. Also, that Narco just dies to Bowmaster ping because we're going to draw a card right here off of Frog. Also, we have like enough lands in hand that I think I'm going to discard some to Frog for damage. Just because we're up against a burn deck, we got to be fast. Okay, looks like they're just going to hit me. Okay. This is a little tough though. Because we're going to take 2 pings here. 2 pings is very rough. But thankfully we can block this 5/5 with our Swarm, or at least just chump it with Stitchers. I think my Stitchers privileges are being revoked, actually. Ooh, another Amalgam. That's sweet. Right, so we have more than 10 power on board, so we could maybe get our opponent dead soon. Just gotta work on it. There's a slow light of the stage, you got it. I think this turn we just turn everything sideways. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Yeah, I think we do. Alright, DRC is gonna come through here. It's got flying, so it could fly my... or it can block my Frog. That's fine. Oh, wow, more lands than we're drawing. Let's go ahead and jump this Frog. Go ahead and attack. I think my opponent should be blocking a lot of this stuff. I mean, this is lethal. They gotta block at least something. Hoping they block here. Hoping they block as much as possible. So we can get the good stuff going. We kind of did leave ourselves dead to Bolt if they bolt this Amalgam. Totally dead because they would only be able to attack with 7. Okay, they are going to block like that. I'm totally fine with that. That takes away their big threats. That means they have 1 less Bowmaster to ping with. I'm going to go ahead and discard actually like a lot of cards here. Really max our damage. We're going to make it so that next swing is lethal. Next swing in the air. They might not have an air blocker. Alright, let's go ahead and discard this to the Frog. Landfall trigger. Come back. You too, you get to come back. Nice. It's looking good. Right, Swifty, you got it. Is it gonna be enough? It's like probably not. Well, you got a Bolt here? No, oh, no, I needed to block this instead, right? I die exactly? Ah. Alright, that was close at least. We almost beat Burn. At least that was a nice showcase of the deck's strengths. Let's quickly look at the deck again, because it did pretty decent today. Alright, this deck is really cool, and it can do stuff for free, so I definitely have an eye on it when it gets to play so many different free spells. So I'm always open to suggestions, but this time I'm actively looking for suggestions. I'm looking for you guys to play this deck and similar decks. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know cards that I could be including in the main deck, things I could switch out. Let me know how I could build the sideboard for best of three, because like I'm 110% interested in at least trying this concept for best of three. I'm not promising it's going to be good. It's day one of the format. Don't craft this if you're out of wild cards. But if you're like me and you already had all of these random wild cards sitting around, well, not the wild cards, I had the actual prized amalgam cards and everything in this deck. All I needed to craft was the Huskburster, which is uncommon. So if you have all these cards, please craft it. Give it a few spins. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know how it does. Join my Discord, and we can get cooking on the BO3 version of this deck. And hopefully, I'll post a video with an update in a couple of days. Thanks for watching.